and each candidate will be giving. In the last election, flag bearer race, we saw it, particularly between Baumia and Ken Gyampo.
Okay.
That the delegates were voting and were taking envelopes from each, candidate. So this is not coordinated. And there are people who step out of their houses, their homes, and the voting booth is right there. And yet they are taking 1,000. We heard some place that they were supposed to give 2,000. Somebody gave 2,000, somebody gave 1,000, and there were these complaints.
And that's a difficulty
that's
we have.
clearly not transportation.
That's a difficulty that we have sometimes. Now, they are all delegates, equal rights and equal voting rights. Everybody has a single vote. Somebody comes from a far distance, another person just lives next to the polling station. You can't even begin to prorate and say that I will give you maybe 100 cedis and give this other person because he's coming from a further distance, 500 cedis. No, delegates will not understand. So you have to give a uniform amount across. Otherwise, you suffer, some,
All right, so you hold your thoughts there. Prof. Gyampo, no one is bigger than the party, no ambition, grievance or faction is greater than it. And this contest must never weaken the collective cause. The right words, typical of Nana Akufo-Addo, but will it translate?
Well, clearly, President Akufo-Addo is noted for making great speeches. And so this is typical of him. But as to whether the aspirants would pay heed to what is said or not is a different, matter. As to whether he still has the weight and the gravitas in the party to be able to command listenership within, and amongst the aspirants, is something that must be looked at. But Samson, clearly, I believe that what happened and what I saw was good for the optics. Seeing very seasoned old politicians all being marshaled or being brought together to meet with aspirants and to prevail on them to sign a pact, a peace pact. I thought it was good, but I kept wondering that all these experienced politicians, have they always been around? I mean, sometimes I see the conduct of those who are running the party now, a conduct that radically departs from how the BJ Daroches ran the party, the conduct that departs radically from how...
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in the zone and staying there.
They always been in not reining in some of these people who show exuberance. The other point I want to make as a preliminary comment is, yes, I agree with the wisdom in trying to do what they want to do Saturday. But at the same time, I also feel that it shows a certain upside-down thinking. Who want to construct a huge story building without digging down a solidified foundation? Who does that? All over the world, I know that both doctrinal and mass political parties are powered by their base. So if you yourself, you argue that in the previous election, your own base did not vote for you, or your own base decided not to vote, then if you are trying to contest another election, it behoves on you to do, in my view, what is necessary and what is important, rebrand and rejuvenate your base. And so given the kind of defeat suffered, I would have gone for the rebuilding.
You'll go to your substantive submission soon,
yes,
but because
yes.
of the point you raised, Akosua Frema Oseo Pare, former Chief of Staff, made this statement that appears to support what Hassan Tampili had said. She said, in my work as a chairperson of the party's Conflict Resolution Committee from 2010 to 2020, it became clear that our losses in elections can be largely linked to the many internal conflicts within the party and our inability to heal faster. They say this top-down approach is intended to give them room to heal fast.
But the essence of forming a political party and the essence of what they are doing is to be able to win an election. And you cannot win an election without your base. It's your base that, when properly rejuvenated, would help you to win an election. And so, for me, a coin has two sides. I see the argument in saying that let us do this now so that we can heal faster. But at the same time, if you select a flag bearer now and the base is also not properly constituted and all that, it could also spell doom for you.
Okay.
But so if there will be a way to ensure that even though for me this should have been the last
right. In 30 seconds, will this election survive Osei-Owusu's, declaration?
But I thought you rightly pointed that out, that then it's going to be very difficult for them. They should be bracing themselves to just annul the election, because we've had promises that the election is going to be raided with treating. We call it in Ghana monetization or monocracy. Yeah. But treating is the key word. Yeah. Treating in politics refers to the illegal act of providing food, drinks, and money or entertainment before, during, and after an election with the corrupt intent of influencing voters' choice. And the practice is considered a form of bribery or corruption aimed at swaying electoral outcomes through improper influence rather than merit.
And it's clearly prohibited by our laws.
So the point is that
they should have been in power. They were distributing food on election day. Monsignor is here. They were distributing food.
So the point is that
election has been
our elections over the
everybody
years.
does that.
Well, but the fact that everybody does not make it right. Elections over the years have been riddled with treating. And so when I heard that statement coming from Joe Osei-Owusu, I laughed and I said, well, let's hope and see how they will be able to set the right example so that all political parties would follow. All right. But it's going to be a tall order for them.
Okay, Dr. Bonfe.